What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Redemption with Jaden. We are finally actually back with some Lackey Grand Prix gameplay. I know it's been a few weeks, and I've kind of been noticing that with some of the views, and it's understandable. Some of my videos in the last few weeks have been less interesting, I think, from a just pure content standpoint. Going over Redemption-related things, but it's not actual gameplay, so it's not as enticing, I guess, but. But that's kind of what what I had the time to do. Didn't have as much time for playing games and getting those in. So it is nice to have the Lackey Grand Prix starting up again, having those forced scheduled games. And I also have a little bit more time now with our church camps and stuff being done. Been doing those the past couple of weekends, and now it's done, so I can kind of put a little more time back into Redemption. One of the things that I have been working on, I made a video about a few weeks ago, are the Your Turn Games contender decks for the newest set, Times to Come. And in that video, I went over the Daniel Babylonians deck and kind of the fully fleshed out budget-free version, and what the contender deck version would look like, or kind of with the budget accommodations to make it into kind of the contender deck format. And this is I guess the second, or it's one of the three decks that I'm working on in kind of its and this is its budget free form as well. And as you can see from the ultra rares and promos and everything that are in here, I use this deck in a Minnesota local that we had just a few weeks ago, and I also did I use it in any other tournaments? No, I think I just built it for the local, and I've been kind of testing it and making tweaks and stuff since then with the other games that I've played, and wanted to put it out there for a video as well, and show what I'm working on and what the kind of fully fleshed out version of the deck will look like. It's sometimes I do want to use the contender deck versions, and I actually have done that before, where I just use the actual contender deck as it is on Your Turn Games. But I also want to be mindful of the fact that when I'm playing the Lackey Grand Prix games, like, people are usually not using budget-friendly decks. They're not like collection specific decks, and so they're going to be more fleshed out with the ultra rares and promos and those kind of things in order to make the games more competitive. Even though I do think that the contender decks themselves are generally competitive, but they're still a step below kind of the full like tournament competitive, where you've got the ultra rares and promos and everything that will kind of put you on an even playing field with the other players who are going to be using those cards. So that's what I'm using this version for the Lackey Grand Prix. Also, in part because the contender deck version is not quite finalized. It's pretty close, but as you can see, there are a decent number of promos in here that are kind of they're hard to figure out good substitutes for. Namely, like Heyman is a big one. Like, you really want him for Heyman's plot, but it doesn't really. This is the only version that we have, is this state promo from 2019 or something like that. So I guess with the fundraiser, we will see another version of Heyman, but he's not necessarily going to be that much cheaper. So still maybe not able to be put into a contender deck, and at least not for a while. So it's things like that where you can have to figure out swaps. The Watchman is another one where we have the Roots Watchman, but definitely not as good. So overall, the gist of this deck is built around Perfidy. So I wanted to, I guess, just as a refresher, or if you didn't watch the contender deck kind of outline video or whatever, I'm building the contender decks based on the 3 dual alignment enhancements in the Times to Come set. So the first one, based off of Measured Mean with Daniel and Babylonians, it's the white crimson one. Then we've got Perfidy here, which is green and brown, and then Return to Fight is the silver black one. both of the, I guess, other two decks, the Daniel Babylonian sounds pretty straightforward. You really only need Michael, and there's a couple of Daniel Angels. Like you're kind of going all in on the Daniel theme. With the other ones, it was a little less clear how I wanted to do it because, with Perfidy, it's just green, but green and silver are kind of, from times to come, they're kind of built to work together. And so the way I'm actually doing is both decks are going to be green and silver, but just kind of different aspects, kind of utilizing different sub themes, I guess. So this would be more of like the Ezekiel and Zechariah themes, whereas the other one will be a little more Isaiah focused, doing Isaiah things, and then a few of the green Isaiah heroes that will go with him, and then the Isaiah angels as well. But here we've just got the Ezekiel angels and Zechariah angels, and then I guess Victorious Being, because it just fits in so nicely with everything else. So that is where this deck is at. So kind of built around Perfidy, which means I'm going to be focusing this deck a little bit more on the hand control aspect. So we've got cards like First Sacrifice, Enjoy Their Hands, Plague of Lice is here in reserve, probably going to be played off of Jeremiah, if at all, or maybe Deborah, who can grab it and has pretty good initiative. And then that's a great card to utilize with like Covenant of Time, where you can take it from reserve, then you can convert Covenant of Time to an artifact, which activates it, so it converts it to an active artifact, and then you can use it to bounce an OT green enhancement. So a card like Plague of Lice, after you play it, is really great to bounce it, or First Sacrifice similarly, or Enjoy Their Hands even. You can use their cards or get rid of their resources, and then do it again with Covenant of Time, and then it really kind of opens things up. Perfidy, I guess, is also another good one. It really opens things up for you to do a lot of other damage, play something like Foreseen by Samuel without having to worry about it getting negated, or Retribution for Sin to shuffle their evil character and then go grab a dominant. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with the hand control aspect here. You've got 20 shekels and hidden treasures to make sure that your opponent, kind of keep tabs on what your opponent has in their hand. Make sure that you're not playing First Sacrifice when they don't have evil cards, or not playing Perfidy until they have 4 brigades or something like that. Just kind of counting on them or I guess relying on your hand information to keep track of what they have to make sure that you're maximizing the value of your cards. I also thought this was a really cool inclusion, 6 Bolt of Wrath, which you can use on either offense or defense in this deck, similar to Perfidy, but the silver and purple side are just going to be using the silver side in this deck. But if used during battle, opponent must discard 2 evil cards from hand. You can't bounce that with Covenant of Time, so you're only going to be able to use it once, but oftentimes you'll be able to use it on Surveying Spirit, who gets pretty good initiative, and then you've already hopefully shuffled a card from their hand. I guess that's another reason to keep an eye on their hand with hidden treasures and 20 shekels, because then you want to, make sure that they have, the most evil brigades in their hand. So you can get Surveying Spirit, you shuffle 1 card, they block, you play 6 bowl, they have to discard 2 more cards. It's pretty easy to, make them run low on evil cards in hand. On resources, then you play something like Jerusalem Filled to abandon more angels, or I guess maybe in Amos or something to shuffle one of their evil characters. Otherwise, you can go the Zechariah route and just kind of throw out a big band of angels and prophets and be protected from things. So I guess you could do like Deborah, exchange to Ezekiel band to this cherubim, who can band to this cherubim, who can band to Haggai, who can band to Zechariah, who can band to Relayer of Messages, who can band to Patrollers of the Earth, or Defender of the Saints, who can then go to Jeremiah, or probably not Jeremiah, but there's a lot of different ways that you can make the band work here, and then just have Zechariah to protect them from harm. The greatest or the best way to do it, I guess, is Defender of the Saints to exchange to Zechariah, who then you'll be able to make him cannot be negated. That's kind of the best case scenario. If you've got a big protected band, it's great if that protection cannot be negated. because then they can't just play like an interrupt the battle, discard or something, or negate him with 3 woes or something like that. So if Zechariah ends up still being in your deck early on, or ends up being discarded somehow, Defender of the Saints to go get him back is a pretty good move. You can discard him with Prosperity. It's one of the plays that I think is kind of cool. Like, keep Zechariah in your hand so that you have him to discard with Prosperity and set it up with Defender of the Saints. Although, just remember, Defender of the Saints to Jeremiah is kind of a release valve for having that play open as well. Jeremiah then going into Plague of Lice and Covenant of Time. Having all the hand attack stuff with Jeremiah is pretty sweet. You can also play Honor Thy Enemy from reserve with Jeremiah, which is pretty cool. And Foreseen by Samuel and Sins Forgotten are also other good ways to get advantage over your opponent. The draw 2 and Sins Forgotten is pretty sweet, and CB on Jeremiah I think is pretty neat. Jeremiah I don't think is making it into the contender deck version of it, so if you're watching this because you got the contender deck version, there are definitely going to be some significant differences just because of how what cards can access the reserve and the substitutions that had to be made. But if you want to work toward making the deck more competitive, I think that taking it in this direction, or where it looks right now, is kind of the way to go. You might notice that right now it is 57 cards. I've got 8 dominance and 8 lost souls here. So that's another big difference, I guess, from the contender deck, which is going to be 50 cards. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the offense. You got Restored Land and Hidden Treasures to kind of work together and take apart the opponent's evil cards in their deck. So you can, hit their hand with, Cherubim, Surveying Spirit, all the enhancements. And then you can use, and Ezekiel, and then you can use Hidden Treasures and Restored Land to take out stuff from their deck as you're, shuffling it in or whatnot. Sometimes I guess if you're, hitting enough of their evil characters, maybe you don't need to discard their evil enhancements. You'd rather them draw their evil enhancements and just have them clog up their hand, or give them more evil brigades, something like that. But there's definitely a lot of different avenues for attacking or putting pressure on the opponent's evil cards. But it is a little bit tricky sometimes to keep track of what they have and what's the best thing to get rid of. So it's more technical, I guess, or a little bit more complicated than a typical deck, than where you're just playing battle winners and negates. Here you have to be a little more tactical, I guess, with your decisions. Judge's Seat, also a great way to get rid of their, put pressure on their evil cards. If they're like, oh, he's attacking my hand, I better put evil cards in territory, you can grab Judge's Seat from your reserve with Deborah. And there was another card. I guess Covenant of Time can get it out as well. Maybe that was it. Just Deborah and Covenant of Time. But once you get it out of reserve, then Haggai can... Oh, right. Haggai also plays it from reserve. That's right. I was like, I thought there was an easier way to do it. But yeah, once you start discarding it with Judge's Seat, or with its own ability while you control a judge, which you've got Moses and Deborah to trigger that, then Haggai can start getting it back, because you've got the Persians over here to start playing a good OT Fortress from your discard pile. So pretty much every turn you can snipe an evil card in their territory, including their 3 woes, or any evil characters, or placed evil enhancements, or something like that. So that is kind of the gist of the offense. The offense, because of the hand pressure, I think it works well with cards like Complacent, works well with cards like Wanderer to kind of make sure that your opponent doesn't, you're kind of peeling back their potential for hand protection. So Crowd's Lost Soul is kind of a big deal. But cards like Complacent, I guess, work well, because if you're dealing with their non-dominant ways, or like it basically it reduces the number of evil or types of evil cards that you have to deal with. So if they have, Christian Martyr, and they have Scattered, and they have, Malachite Slave in their hand or something like that, then you can, like not have to worry about the Christian Martyr, and you can just figure out a way to deal with scattered, negate their Amalekite slave somehow, or essentially just turning off like their one option to make it more, like in that case, I can deal with Amalekite slave and then just heck with a lone hero, and I don't have to worry about Christian Martyr, something like that. For example, I guess that kind of reminds me of just something I should note about the Watchmen. Like the negate evil search and shuffle abilities is kind of crazy good. I mean, particularly the evil search, like negating evil search, because of cards like Amalekite Slave and, Hazueris that's going around, or Darius' Satraps, he does exchanging, Haman does searching. So even on my defense here, you can see the impact it has on some of these key characters. But a lot of defenses are using cards that get affected by Watchmen. There have been multiple games where, like I use Watchmen exchange, and like I maybe don't even attack again until I get him back, so that I can keep on negating their search abilities, and then also because of the synergy with Ezekiel, getting an extra draw too is pretty sweet. That's why the new one kind of pales in comparison to this one. It's the new one is a little more broad, and then I can exchange with any good OT human prophet, I think. Maybe it's only green, but it only goes to discard pile into reserve, and also doesn't have the gate or the draw with when you get to Ezekiel. So yeah, that's something to really keep an eye on if you're wanting to play this deck, or you bought the contender deck. This version of the Watchman is definitely going to be toward the top of the to acquire list. So anyway, we're doing Covet, we're doing Wanderer to take away their crowds, or any other pesky lost souls that we don't like. We've got Complacent to restrict dominance during battle, and then Color Guard, I guess, will be kind of more, Color Guard and Wicked, we're kind of talking about more with the defense. So I guess we can kind of switch gears a little bit to talking about that. There's a little bit of the hand control stuff in the defense here as well. Not as much, but because Perfidy works on defense as well, then you can kind of have it go both ways. So we've got Vain Philosophy, we've got Perfidy. Flying Scroll is here in reserve to be able to reserve a good card from their hand potentially. We can get that out with either Persian Horseman, or that, or I guess Descent Against Moses. You can activate it. If you do that, you're probably going to want to be activating it because you're going to use the ability right away. But you can activate it, not use it, and then figure out a way to reset it. I don't know. Probably don't do that, but you do have to activate it. You can't just take it with Descent Against Moses. I thought there was one more way to get it from reserve, but Storehouse. That's right. The Storehouse can also just take it from reserve, and then you can either use it as an artifact then, or you can save it to play during battle and try to get that reserve ability. The cool thing with that reserve ability is that you can kind of combo it. So let's say that this is like ideal scenario, like kind of magical Christmas land almost, but it's actually not that difficult to pull off. So if your opponent is not ready for it, I guess, or maybe you've got Complacent out so they can't play their dominance during battle. If you block with Persian Horseman, you pull a Flying Scroll out of your reserve, you play Flying Scroll. Hopefully they've got more than one hero in battle, so you're not putting them in special initiative. But if they've got more than one hero, you can play that, reserve one hero, reserve Son of God perhaps from their hand, and then you could play Falsified Claims to reserve something else, and then take Son of God from their reserve. Seems pretty good if you can pull it off, and your opponent might sniff it out, see it coming. But I think this deck is playing a decent number of ways to help mitigate that. I guess you've got backup negates with Descent Against Moses, and I mean Falsified Claims would be good if you weren't already playing it for that effect. But maybe you play Perfidy first to reserve their negates, and then and then you do Flying Scroll and then Falsified Claims. So there's really a lot of ways to get to kind of open up your options by taking away their negates or their interaction. So if you play Perfidy, it's got big big toughness, but it doesn't usually make you. It won't make you start winning the battle because you don't have any extra strength there. So unless it's like a mutual destruction or something where they're already defeating you and you're already defeating them, then Perfidy won't make it so that you won't be able to play anything afterwards. So hopefully you can Perfidy, Flying Scroll, Falsified Claims, and get them good. And then they won't have a way to negate it. I think there's also a lot of ways to get to enhancements that you want. So Confusion is going to be another kind of hand control aspect, but also it's just good to get early on with Ahasuerus if your opponent isn't ready for it. You can do Ahasuerus, take it, and play it right away to hit their Son of God that way. Unless you want to, make it risky, hit something else, and then try to get Son of God later with Flying Scroll. Who knows? But anyways, we're going to be doing a lot of attacking their hand, attacking their deck, and then the defense also has some great ways to just get strong blocks through cannot be negated stuff like Haman's Plot and Reap the Whirlwind. And I guess Descent Against Moses also. You can either activate Deserving Scorn from your artifact pile or Flying Scroll from your reserve. There was some consideration into swapping Flying Scroll and Deserving Scorn. And you could do that if you wanted to, if you were building this deck and were trying that out. The main concern, I guess, was just the extra brigade that's on Flying Scroll. I didn't want to be holding Flying Scroll in my hand so that I could play it as an enhancement and then have to reveal it with Surveying Spirit and then have the most evil brigades. That was kind of the main thing that I was considering. The other aspect is that it is nice that you can see pretty much all these guys are pretty big. Like Haman, I guess Darius' Satraps is the smallest of my evil characters, and he's not even that small. So I was expecting that if I'm gonna be pulling off the Flying Scroll, Falsified Claims, shenanigans, it's probably going to be with Persian Horseman, who's going to be able to grab Flying Scroll directly from reserve. So because of that, I want to, if I have a way to get to Persian Horseman, that means I have a way to get to Flying Scroll. And so I don't really want to have Flying Scroll stuck in the deck. Technically, you could do Persian Horseman to Deserving Scorn to Flying Scroll, like take Deserving Scorn from reserve, and then take an OT Brown enhancement from deck, which would be Flying Scroll. But yeah, that's a lot to piece together, and then that also kind of makes it so that the initiative thing is a little harder to get because you got 1-3 numbers on Deserving Scorn here. So that was the rationale for that, but it's open to trying it either way, because if you have Flying Scroll and Falsified Claims in the main deck, then maybe you can even just sneak it in on turn one if you happen to get them together. And then it also makes Descent Against Moses a little more reliable as a block with Deserving Scorn, because if you don't have Deserving Scorn at that point, Flying Scroll isn't always going to work because it has to be a multi-brigade or territory class character that it targets. Okay, now we've got Cyrus the Great in reserve. He was one of the Persians that I haven't used in some of my other Persian builds, but I did want to try him out. I think the toss ability here is pretty solid. It is a little unfortunate that it's basically either this or that. Like, you can't get the toss and the band because he has to be alone unless you somehow band to a Persian that doesn't stay in battle. I don't think that's the case generally. I guess you could do a deck with like the Great White Throne, and then you can withdraw everybody but Cyrus after you do all your banding. That's not the worst idea. Great White Throne is just a good card in general, so having that utility could be nice. But just having Cyrus with a bunch of negates seems pretty good. I kind of imagine having him in a deck with like the Cross and Colosseum, and like tossing stuff with Interrupt and stuff with negated. but some of the best negates that he's got available are like Descent Against Moses and Falsified. Well, I guess just Descent Against Moses would be tossed by those. Falsified Claims is still good. You still got Begging to Go Back. You've got a few other decent negates that Cyrus could run with those. Unfortunately, it's tough to put a lot of eggs into one defensive basket, just because you block with him and they've got Angel of the Lord, then that's it. There's not really a way to get him back super easily. I guess Necromancer, you can do that, but Anyway, Cyrus, he can ban to Xerxes or Persian Horseman from reserve. I like banning to Xerxes, and then like banning to Haman or something like that, or banning to Satraps, who can then exchange to Prince of Persia, and then get to Haman that way. So lots of cool things that you can do with this defense. I like that Xerxes can be kind of sneaky in reserve if your opponent is starting to get ahead. He's good on turn 1 if you're going second and your opponent kind of gets off to a fast start, but I think you're seeing less, or I guess fewer decks that are running like more than 3 good brigades. So Xerxes is a little less impactful, but still, I mean, setting aside even just 3 key cards from your opponent's territory for 3 turns, that can be the rest of the game in a lot of cases. So can definitely make a good impact there. A lot of times I'll be setting aside like a storehouse or something to unlock my hand and deck attack cards to make sure that your opponent doesn't have the protection. There was like one game in particular where I remember playing that I needed that to be the case, and like I couldn't find my shipwreck to get around it. So and then Xerxes also can grab Sheol from reserve and add to the add to battle stuff that this defense has. Like the defense looks a little bit small for a 57, but there's actually a lot of staying power. It's 6 Bull, Perplexing Vision, Sheol, all having the add to battle stuff. Vain Philosophy is big, and Perfidy can be an evil enhancement over here as well. So there's a lot of stuff that this defense can do. Prince of Persia goes pretty hard, especially if your opponent is trying to get down their hand protection, and if they're not careful, then you can definitely do some damage there. So with that, I think that's pretty much everything to mention here. Shipwreck there to obviously deal with protection stuff, and the rest I think is pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go ahead and get into the game pretty shortly here. One thing to note about the game with René is that I think I mentioned that it was against René, right? Round 1 of Lackey Grand Prix 24 against René, or Reth as he is known on Discord. And we did not play with audio or like our voice chat. We were just doing text chat for this one, which is a little less exciting, I think, in some ways, but also I get to do a little more play-by-play commentary, thought process, a little cleaner of a kind of game summary or wrap-up at the end, your conclusion, I guess, outro, maybe. So many different words. So anyway, just a heads up about that. And then also, of course, before we get into the game, we're going to do a quick shout out to our sponsors over here at Your Turn Games as I navigate over to that. And Your Turn Games, sponsors the channel here. This is where you can find the contender decks. They're not, the newest ones are not available yet, but they will be soon. And currently, we've still got, 13 contender decks up here that are available. So you can, if you're looking to get started, you don't have a big collection, but you want to just jump into something competitive right away. Or if you do have a decent collection and you just want some ideas for building a deck, these are a great place to start for reference. But if you want to actually get the cards, get some sleeves, get a deck box, you can check these out from Your Turn Games. Otherwise, I've got singles and booster packs, anything that you might so desire as far as redemption products are concerned. And with that as well, I do want to remind you again that the Cactus Game Design fundraiser is still going on. We just got an update this week that the the total, I guess I can read off the total that has been raised so far, which is $15,526.68. So that leaves us with just over $3,500 to get to the next tier, tier 3, which is having, let's see, I think 168 total Roots 2 cards. And then we have another 4,300 on top of that to get to the full Roots 2 224 total cards. So hopefully we will get there. We've still got a little ways to go, for timing to get to that point. So, it would be awesome to get there. One thing to note then also is that there are 6 borderless serialized foil textless second comings left and 5 of the 3 woes left. So if you are looking to pick up some of those, now would be a good time to do it before the stock of those runs out. There is only 25 of each made available. And then also notably, you might notice that the create a card option is no longer here, no longer available. There were only 3 of those for $500 each, and they have all been sold. So that's pretty cool. I only know of one of the people that purchased it. So hopefully some of I guess we'll find out at some point, and I don't know if I'm really hoping for a certain point to find out, but we'll find out at some point who those people are and what cards they're contributing. I don't know if we'll know for sure. If maybe they won't spoil them until pretty close to when Roots 2 actually becomes available, but I'm sure they are in the lab working on the cards now, and I'm excited to see what people come up with. And of course, they've got all the other goodies still available here, and also even the older stuff. If you want a second coming and a 3 woes to go along with your contender deck at a more reasonable price than the full set versions that are $90 at some point or something like that now. Maybe 60 for the cheaper ones. I don't know, but anyways, you can get versions of them that are fully legal for $25 each here as well. So you can kind of supplement your contender decks with those. You don't have to get the serialized foil versions for your contender decks, but it would be a pretty cool flex, I guess, if you if you have one of each of these in your contender deck. So anyways, that is all, I think, before we go ahead and get into the game with René. So let's do it. All right, not too bad of an opening hand here. Having Watchman is always nice. Start going to Ezekiel, drawing some cards right away. Storehouse, Cherubim. I like it. Not much for defense, though, so we do get to go first, which is nice. And we got some Meek LS Souls, my Hopper, my Covet, no star. Upside of having the Watchman over Victorious Being in this case is that I get to use Hidden Treasures, which is nice. Otherwise, Victorious Being would be the better option because I could draw 1 and go to the Watchman, but looks like he's got Emmaus Road and Amazing Faith. Maybe some New Testament gold stuff going on. Guessing he's not on posties, but never know. Could come out and surprise me a bit. With the Meek LS Souls, I think he's been working on an NT gold, either Pharisees or I know he's got a couple of different Meek LS Soul defenses that he's been liking, but. So I suppose Amazing Faith probably goes to his own deck for the first here. Be my guess. And there it is. Yeah, and it triggers right when the star ability plays it. Just to draw a card, and then put the first back on top. Oh, yeah. Say you put the first on top and then drew. So yeah, you draw a card, then you put the first on top. Okay, so then I guess we'll do that. And we'll go grab the first, I guess, probably. Yeah, it looks like NT gold. Got some gray. Pharisees going on. Looks like burial, led astray. Alright. Alright, beginning my turn here. Go ahead and start out with Storehouse. And then we'll put down the Watchman and use Hidden Treasures to see what he's got in hand here. Okay, so 3 woes. Ooh, Malachite's Slave. So Ezekiel's going to be good here. I can top deck Malachite's Slave, and I believe is CBI, so that's, yeah, pretty good. No other evil characters. So that's pretty good. Not really any point in bringing in Cherubim as well, but can leave him in hand for now, I think. Alright, go to battle. Let's attack with the Watchman. Even if he did have, or even with Malachite's Slave, Watchman negates Evil Search and Shuffle. So it actually might make sense to do one of his enhancements. Then shuffle it back and maybe discard it with Hidden Treasures. Okay, so looking at his hand here, he's got a Malachite Slave. He can't really do anything with it with his evil enhancements, so I think I actually could just top deck 3 woes here and then shuffle it into his deck with Endless Treasures. I think that might be better. I don't know. Getting rid of his evil character could be nice, because I won't necessarily have Watchmen again next turn. But, I don't know. 3 woes seems better. I don't know, getting rid of one of these enhancements could be good, though. If only I had the other Cherubim that I could top deck both, but... yeah, not really any reason to band here, so... So we can do Pretension, Plot to Kill, Fear of Man. There's only 3 evil enhancements left. I guess he's got 3 in hand, so... don't think I really care if he reserves, but I guess it kind of slow him down a little bit if I get rid of Pretension. Yeah, let's just do Fear of Man. I feel like that one's the most versatile, I guess. Alright, rescue the Covet. Cool. Oh. Yeah, I missed my Watchman draw. That's pretty bad. Yep. That's pretty unfortunate. I needed that for finding more defense, but I think maybe I should have. Yeah, I probably should have put down Trusted Politicians. Because now if he has Teaching in Parables, he can negate Storehouse and use it. But, I mean, it basically just saves my Trusted Politicians from being reserved by Teaching in Parables. Which, I don't know if he uses it now and takes out Trusted Politicians, that's not that bad, because Teaching in Parables is really the only card that I'm worried about with Trusted Politicians. I guess Zacchaeus, I choose the blocker stuff, but he was thinking about getting Nicodemus with Golgotha, but it's worded such that it's, you can't do that because it has to be except a hero, so it cannot have a hero on either side unless it begins as an evil character, which I don't think there are any gospel characters that begin as an evil character. But you can't get like Nicodemus or Zacchaeus or those kind of dudes. Alright, Simon the Host, choosing a hero to attack or banding. So I got Simon the Host with Golgotha, now putting down Good Shepherd as a hero. And yeah, probably going to attack, be able to draw 3, which is, yeah. Missing that draw 2 is big. He got distracted by his, the hidden treasures and thinking about what was in his hand and what I should top deck. Yep. Coming out, negating lost souls, restricting evil dominance. And I do not have a block. It's gonna be a real bummer if I draw Heyman off the top in the top 2 cards here, or Satraps or something. Like, basically any way to get to Heyman, like Deceiver. Although I guess using plot on one hero feels a little bad. But there's Slave. It's smart of him to put it down because I can't top deck it with Ezekiel. Well, I guess he's got Storehouse anyway, so need to figure out a way around that. And discarded Fruit of the Land. Not sure why I didn't play that. I mean, like, he already had too many cards in hand, but could have played it and found another hero, perhaps, but he didn't play any other territory class enhancements this turn, I don't think. Okay, I got Zechariah, that's cool. We got no ways around Storehouse, so I guess I'll trigger my own Storehouse. It's something with the hand, it's a hand, I guess. I can do Flying Scroll. I don't have any other artifacts that I'm using this turn because of Storehouse, so yeah, I could take his Malachite Slave. That's kind of cool. So I can banish it and take Malachite Slave. Goes to my hand, I believe. Yeah, just take. So not take to territory. And now what? So we can do Zechariah. He's a major prophet, so don't get to ban to anybody. Just protect from harm. He's got tenants, duplicity, and unsuccessful. So maybe I'm just drawing out the unsuccessful this turn. I mean, I guess he could still use tenants. Victorious Being is nice to go back to Watchman. That I can actually get my draw 2 with Ezekiel, but I guess I don't have Lost Souls, so maybe I shouldn't draw. But if I go to Watchman, then I can ban a Cherubim. He can't top deck from hand, so I can top deck his Simon the Host. Maybe he didn't do or draw any other evil characters. Yeah, we'll see. So draw 1, of course, Lost Soul right off the top. Maybe I just get rid of his Malachite Slave. Feels kind of bad. Could get rid of my own Cherubim. It seems like it's going to be good later once I get rid of Storehouse. Maybe Zechariah, I guess, yeah. Probably do that. Defender of the Saints can go get him later. Complacent is kind of nice here. So now we go to Watchman. And then we exchange with Ezekiel. Oops. Can't look at his hand. And ban to so because his hand is protected, he's not able to top deck an evil card from hand, so that means that I get to top deck his evil card, which can be Simon the Host. And then I could ban to this Cherubim as well, but I think I will not. So now I'll remember to draw 2 from the Watchman after the exchange. So the way the exchange works is that if it is Ezekiel, trigger goes after Ezekiel's abilities trigger, which he bans to that. And I guess I do have access to the Lost Soul and Golgotha, so it gives me Hopper. Okay, put down Cherubim, put down Politicians, and I guess I could put his Amalekite Slave back down. He knows I have it, and it keeps my Unity, and also for like brigade count stuff for Surveying Spirit once we get to that point, but we'll see if that comes up. But I don't have board advantage. I guess that's kind of the play advantage. So no Xerxes stuff unless he puts down a bunch of cards. I guess that's a reason not to put down things, but I don't think he would have been catching up on play advantage this turn anyway, so. But that's one of the ways to deal with Storehouse, is using like Xerxes to set it aside. So he's using his Storehouse to take a curse from reserve. Goes and grabs Confusion of Mind. Did he play Emmaus Road last turn? Is that why he didn't play Fruit of the Land? I don't think so. The fact that he didn't play either was a little strange. I mean, I think you gotta use your territory class enhancement when you have the opportunity to do so, or like every turn. I think you should. Malachite Slave is just going back and forth. Trusted Politicians only protects from opponent's good cards, so you can use stocks to capture him. But I'm not sure if that's what. Yeah, wasn't sure about Politicians Protect, but Protect is only from opponent's good cards, so stocks is, since stocks is neutral, you can still use it to target my evil cards. Just capturing Malachite Slave, which is it's interesting, especially in a Meek Lost Soul deck, because now when he plays Burial, he'll be able to underdeck Malachite Slave as well, and get it back, so that he could use it later, but later in the game, it's not going to be as effective for him, but he's not giving me an evil character back, so yeah, I can do that. So Emmaus Road now being used to go grab a star card from deck. I kind of am curious, like, maybe he was concerned about the characters that I could go get with Malachite Slave. Obviously, he doesn't know that I have Deceiver in my hand. But I feel like with this lineup, Confusion of Mind probably would be better for him than stocks. Maybe he has another way to activate it later, but it goes against Jairus with Emmaus Road. But I think in this situation, I think you probably got to be more worried about my offense. Of course, I don't know what he has in his hand as far as like defense that he drew into, but I think I would have been more worried about my offense, either capturing Ezekiel or with stocks, or just flipping up Confusion of Mind. Of course, if I have a way to deal with Confusion of Mind, then it becomes less effective. But I think you kind of have to play toward that line, I guess, where all of my characters, all the heroes that I'm showing right now, can be negated by Confusion of Mind. And so I think that would have been his better option here. And then just kind of, if I have something for a Malachite Slave, then so be it. But okay, now I should probably think about how I'm going to block here. We go with Deceiver for sure. I think we just go to, he's a 9/9. Yeah, I can't go to his hand, so I think we just go to Heyman. Oh, actually that's a lot better, yeah, because his hand is protected. So yeah, we just go to Satraps, and then no Persian king, but then I can exchange with Prince of Persia. And I can reserve Lost Shepherd. Or Good Shepherd. Not Lost Shepherd. Lost Sheep, Good Shepherd. Although now he's going to reserve, so maybe he's getting lost in there. I don't know. So because he has Storehouse and he doesn't have anything, and he doesn't have any other gold cards in territory, then he can't instead with the ability here. I guess, because no, yeah, Complacent is negated, so alright, yeah, nothing, no other dominance. Lost Souls were negated, so Complacent is negated, so if he had a dominant to play there, he could have, but yeah, he could have put Jairus in territory before battle, but wasn't thinking about Prince of Persia necessarily. Yeah, I definitely had plenty of heroes to put down and that he could have used to instead, but it is a little bit tricky because normally you don't want to put your extra characters and heroes down, or especially heroes down, make them more vulnerable. Maybe especially evil characters, I guess, more so, but yeah, because if he did put more characters down, then my block would just be Haemon to Haemon's plot and just rip up his territory. So it was kind of a lose-lose either way. I guess the best case option for him, or the best option for him, was just putting down one hero, one of his heroes at that time, so he had someone to do instead with Prince of Persia, but not giving me too much value off of a plot. So, alright. No stars. Trigger Storehouse. I still don't think I really want to do anything with that, so I guess we'll just take... Could take Honor Thy Enemy. Let's just take Persian Horseman, because I could get Honor Thy Enemy, and I also kind of like keeping it in reserve for Jeremiah. And then I could put Persian horses on Prince of Persia, but yeah, I don't think I really need to do that. Wish I had a way to get to Jeremiah this turn. That'd be kind of nice. Alright, so we got Glory, we got... I could play Glory before battle and just attack with Ezekiel. Does he have any priests? Not that I know of. Problem is, like, if I don't get big enough, then that's a problem. I could have Foreign Wives in reserve for Deceiver. So I guess I could play Enjoy Their Hands, Jerusalem Filled, Band In. Yeah. Because we have Son of God Second Coming, I think we just go for it. I don't know. Wow, but what if he has a dominant? Like a Burial or something, that'd be pretty bad. Yeah, whatever. Could have Led Astray too. That'd be unfortunate, but... Or actually, no, yeah, I've got Complacent, so I think I'm okay, unless he plays anything before battle. Yeah, if he has... Yeah, he's got something. I probably should have just played these two now, if he has Burial. Ooh. Is he doing Second Coming to Crowd's Choice to Burial? Or is he just doing Second Coming to Son of God to rescue Complacent? Yeah. Yeah. That's still pretty good, I guess, for me. I think it's still worth it. I could do like... could just do a big band. Wait, I do have a way to Jeremiah. That's right. Yeah, I can just do Watchmen to Jeremiah in reserve. Yeah, that's better than Ezekiel. Right. Major or minor profit in deck territory, discard pile or reserve. And I'm paralyzing his Deceiver. So that's, and Simon, so that's pretty good. Paralyzing Simon is probably the most important here. I kind of forgot about him. If I had attacked with Ezekiel, I mean, I guess like if he chooses any of my other heroes, I could still ban. But like if he chose Cherubim, I'd have banned a Cherubim. And if I didn't do Watchmen, then I'd be able to ban Watchmen still, but I might not have noticed that. So let's see, I've got lots of reserve availability. So I think I'm in pretty good shape here. The fact that Jeremiah paralyzes his Deceiver is pretty strong. I wonder if he's not using Crowd's Choice. That's like, otherwise I think the play that there is second coming to Crowd's Choice. So he's probably got, or the Burial, yeah. But unless he already has Burial in hand. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if he had Burial in hand, then he probably just goes to, or probably just plays that. But yeah, since it's Led Astray, that makes sense. It's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, nothing I can do about that. Let's put down Haman. Do I want to equip horses? I don't think so. I think I'd rather just play it down. Yeah. Maybe I should play these now. Like, the first is already gone. Yeah, let's just do that. Because if he has Burial, I don't want to have to wait for him to draw more. I don't have a lot of Soul Gen in this deck. So yeah, let's just take, well, actually, I guess I should take Malachite Slave, because won't necessarily, like, if he does bury it, then he wouldn't necessarily be he wouldn't be a lost soul when he draws it. So basically, by leaving these 4, if he plays Burial, then it increase my odds of him drawing lost souls later. No stars. He's using his Storehouse trigger. Taking Scattered Sheep. Okay. Oops, I guess I shouldn't have my reserve revealed anymore. I feel like my attack should just be Jeremiah and kind of bait him into figuring out a way to negate Jeremiah, and then just playing the enhancements I have in my hand, and him hopefully not expecting that. Stocks on Haman is a little unfortunate. Probably, yeah, I definitely should have kept Haman and Persian Horseman in my hand. I kind of forgot about the whole fact that I was going to play Son of God Second Coming, or should do that. I should have done that before I gave him Dominant Initiative, really, in case it was Burial that he was playing before battle. But oh well. Now I guess if he plays Burial, he has to underdeck Haman, because I do have access with my Angels. So I can get it back with Deceiver or Satraps. Alright, Watchful. Watchful Servant can't ban a Faithful Servant because he's not unique. Yeah, Faithful Servant can ban a Watchful Servant, but not the other way around. So yeah, I drew 3 off of Watchful Servant and then 2 more off of Persistent Widow. So I was just going Watchful to Persistent Widow, and then now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. He's got 8 attack, 8 strength, 8. So let's see, I need 9 toughness. So I can block with Horsemen, play Perfidy, or like take Honor the Enemy and play Perfidy to, man, just just for numbers. Feels kind of bad. I could also just do like Prince of Persia and reserve Deceiver or something like that. No, let's do Horseman. Draw 2. And then take that from reserve. Alright, he's not giving us the opportunity, unfortunately. Yep, so he'll get Prosperity. So yeah, the draw 2 there was good. And lots of evil characters now. Jeremiah also paralyzes Saul. Brood of Vipers can hit something. Callous Conspirators, that's the protect this card from Selected Brigade. Okay, that's fine. Faithful Servant coming down. Well, now my Xerxes is looking better. Doesn't have Good Shepherd anymore, so it's 1 fewer brigade, and he's not grabbing anything with Emmaus Road. Just shuffling it back into his deck to, I think, lower the number of cards in his hand. He might have some star enhancements still, but if he searched for them, then he wouldn't be able to do anything with them. Hey, there's another brigade. Xerxes is looking better by the minute. I need my shipwreck. Oof. Okay. Yeah, it's probably just Deborah. Can take Judge's Seat from my reserve. And then draw 2. I feel like I really need to draw on a shipwreck, and then, yeah. Is there anything that's worth top decking with Cherubim? Do I do Deborah, or do I just do Jeremiah? I really want to draw cards, but also I've got way too many cards. He's going to play Dominant before battle, so. Yeah, I didn't need to use Storehouse this turn. And there's the Burial. Alright. Bye-bye, Haman. So now we need to draw cards. Oh, yeah, I should have used Wander. He should have done that before. Or, yeah, I mean, I think optimally he should have played Burial as soon as I drew Wanderer, because like, well, basically right after my draw phase, I guess. I don't know if I want to go to battle anymore. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just attack with Deborah. Take Judge's Seat and draw 2. Alright. No block. Yep. Got that. Put down Judge's Seat. Probably just start picking characters off. I don't know who we go for first, though. Probably Nicodemus. He seems scary. Guess he might have a way to get him back, but whatever. And we'll place 6 bull in territory. And yeah, gotta put that down. Discard live coal, probably, and confusion, I guess. Need a way to search for a shipwreck in here. Could play wages on Prince. Is he gonna resurrect his Nicodemus now? Sure, yeah. Does have to be as a hero though, so he does go into play. So he needs a way to bounce him in order to get him as an evil character. So it just means that he'll keep a brigade with Jephthah's daughter, or if he uses Jephthah's daughter to go to Jephthah, presumably in reserve. Which taking out politicians, he could take out politicians, but Prince of Persia would be protected by politicians. If he has teaching comparables to negate it this turn, I guess that'd be pretty good. Do still have perplexing vision that I can do Cyrus to Xerxes in reserve. So now Confusion of Mind goes face up. Took False Prophecy from his reserve with Storehouse. And I can't discard with Storehouse, or I can't discard with Confusion of Mind because of my own Storehouse. So let's see, he underdecked 5 Lost Souls, or was it 4? So it should be 2. If it was 4, then there'd be 2 left in his deck somewhere other than the bottom. It's only got 17 cards left in deck. And doesn't have a Meek Lost Soul, so he's just, reserving Jeremiah. I actually kind of like that, to be honest. So that makes my Defender of the Saints a little better. I do still have to get around Confusion of Mind, but yep, he's doing that. Drawing 2. It's kind of risky here. Maybe he did underdeck 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, it was just 4. So there should be 2 Lost Souls still left in his deck in between the top and the bottom. Got a Kingdoms. Ooh. So now we can play Woes. Probably either as good to negate politicians or... Oh. Okay. Guess I'm good to negate 6 bull, so... Okay. It's not the worst. So he has 3 brigades for... Good brigades for King Xerxes, if I want to go that route. It involves giving him a lot of initiative, though, which is not something I really want to do. He's got Amazing Faith, who knows, he's got Restoring the Afflicted. Those are the 2 that he revealed for Pretension. Watchman, drawing 3 again. I don't know if he's looking for more offense or more defense or what. So now, yeah, he went with Watchful. I think he wanted to do Faithful Servant, Band of Watchful, and then that, but... Alright, so, yeah, he's going Watchful to Zacchaeus, choosing Trusted Politicians. And it's not optional, so I actually do have to withdraw all but 1 hero. I mean, he's going to get initiative either way. I guess I withdraw Watchful. So if I go to... So if I play Perplexing Vision, Then I could take Satraps. I can go to Haman. Haman negates Zacchaeus, which kicks trusted politicians back out, but Haman would still be in battle, so I don't get to re-choose. And he would have initiative. Don't think I have another way to... Yeah, so I think we give him initiative. He plays something to get rid of trusted politicians, a new perplexing vision to Satraps, and then Satraps to honor thy enemy. So then... Oh, okay. So he's going for Princess Protected. Okay, so he's reserving my bull. Or wait, no. It's other evil cards. So he can still negate them, but yeah, he wouldn't be able to reserve. So yeah, so he's negating 6 bull. Now I'm playing Glory. Okay. So yeah, that would leave it in mutual. So yeah, I guess this is actually... Oh, this is... this is best case scenario for me, because now I can do Cyrus and Perplexing Vision with no downside, I guess. Like, is there any reason to do Satraps? No Persian King, so yeah. Oh man, this is pretty good. So we got a reserve for Xerxes. Play Sheol. Play advantage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perplexing Vision is in play. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3. Glory is not in play. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, yeah. Man, and it does have to be a human Persian, though, so I can't ban a Prince of Persia after this, unfortunately. So I get to set aside 3 cards in his territory, so we'll do... I think I'm going to do Storehouse, Confusion of Mind, and... do we care about Woes? I think we'll just do Brood of Vipers. I think. I don't know. It seems fine. I don't really care about Kingdoms. Actually, I probably should have done Kingdoms. Now we can actually trigger Kingdoms, which is, yeah. Alright, Deborah's going to the bottom. And that's fine. So yeah, it triggers Kingdoms. And now we got Sheol, we've got the big boys. I like more odds. Ooh, another good brigade for Xerxes. Nice, nice. If you can use King Xerxes twice in one game, then you definitely know that you're behind on cards. He's got 11 left in his deck, and 6 of them are Lost Souls. I've got 26 left in my deck. Let's see, 1, 2... 1. Oh, wait, okay, that's right, yeah. The first is there, so... Alright, yeah, you burned his teaching in parables there. Kind of forgot about trusted politicians being still around. Alright. Yeah, even if he did that. Oh. Yeah, I guess I used Moses here. I don't really need that guy anymore. Well, I guess he does have board advantage currently, I think, but his hand is open now, so like my good enhancements are actually good. Let's just do... I think we can do Jerusalem filled. I think that's okay. Just get rid of his Zacchaeus, so it's not as good. Shuffle, draw 3. Okay, hey guy coming back is cool. We really need a Lost Soul out of his deck. Don't believe I have a good way to do that. No Storehouse. Yeah, I guess we want to do Hidden Treasures to shuffle his deck and see what he's got in his hand. Don't believe he has any other protection stuff. No territory class, yeah. And lots of dual or non-single brigade stuff in here. And yeah, lots of brigades for, well, I guess it's actually only still 4 total brigades, so perfect. Yeah. Okay. And I guess we just go in with Ezekiel and the gang and try to get some value. I don't know. Make him play something that's, yeah. If he wants to play anything, I guess he doesn't have to. So then Haggai can ban a relayer. Yeah, okay. So we start out with Ezekiel. And what's the thing that can hurt me most? I guess maybe duplicity. So I don't know what could be in his reserve. Maybe tenants because he can ban to my stuff. Or scattered sheep because then he can just shuffle everybody. Yeah, I guess we'll do scattered sheep. And then we'll do, gotta do this guy first. So you can top deck an evil card from hand. Otherwise, I can top deck his evil card. You can top deck duplicity. Okay, I guess that's a good sign. And then we'll do cherubim. No evil dominance. So I'll ban to Haggai. Go get Judge's Seat from my discard pile. She underdecked Deborah, so I don't have a judge now. And then... I mean, I guess I can just look at the top one. I don't know if that's better than going for a good OT enhancement. Yeah. It's just top 1, right? Yeah, minor profits. Okay, so reveal to owner, top 1. That's not bad. And now we can go to his deck. Yeah, look at all those lost souls that need to get shuffled. Discard that. And shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Sweet. Alright, that's my battle challenge. No block. Seems reasonable. And we've got Satraps. It might be good to hang on to. Put down Amos. I don't think he's gonna have, like, anything to discard all of my evil characters and get around trusted politicians. Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, Adria Lost Soul. Huzzah. So let's see, I think Deborah or Moses gets me to be able to walk in with Jeremiah. Do you have any evil characters left in his deck? I mean, I guess I'll be able to look with Hidden Treasures, but I'll be able to look in his hand, and then I won't be, worried about what's left in his deck. At that point, moving woes to politicians makes sense. So now he might be going for the Jephthah play. Not too worried about that. Can negate it with woes if I need to. Haman gets initiative against Jephthah. Seems pretty good. Ooh, Grail. Okay. Grail on Satraps. Do I woes that? I think I do, because if I can force him to go with Jephthah, that's better, I think. I don't really care if he underdecks any of my heroes. There's a color guard when you need it. Herod's Temple. Alright, Gabriel negating Sheol. And Jairus, no reveal. Doesn't look like. Okay. So we go. Let's see, it's 10, 21 attack. Can use Satraps to discard a card from his reserve. Let's just do, should go to discard pile, yeah. We'll just do, doesn't really matter, Doom Speakers, I guess. And Haman does not negate anything. We'll just draw one. So I've got 14 toughness. So we toss this for 0. Let's see, 14 toughness. He's got 20 attack, so actually we can just toss this for 4. And then do honor thy enemy to end the battle. Alright, so ending the battle in a stalemate there. So our time is just about up, so maybe we get one more round here. Yeah, alright. Do I need to use Moses here? I don't think so. Well, I mean, I guess I have Deborah, so I can, yeah, I might as well. There's Shipwreck, finally. And now we can do this, so look at his hand. Alright, so no evil characters. Just do that one, I guess. And I don't think there's any way Brood of Vipers can come back, so yeah. Just need to push out one of my silver guys. And that is it. Yeah, I said too many misplays. And yeah, I think there were a few spots that were a bit of misplays. I mean, some things that were hard to know which the right play would have been until after the fact. So, you know, wouldn't be too hard on him. But there were a few things that I noticed that where he could have made a slightly different play. I think Fruit of the Land, that was one that was a little strange to me, because you could just find another hero and then put it down if you're worried about having too many cards in hand, unless I'm forgetting that he played a different territory class enhancement first. But overall, I think my deck did the thing that it wants to do, which was manipulate the hand early, especially on turn 1. Not finding woes or shipwreck to deal with Storehouse, though, kind of made the mid-game a little bit awkward, but I think the disruption that I had kind of at the right time between Watchman negating his search and shuffle, and then Ezekiel just kind of messing things up. That was pretty good. I think, yeah, the one misplay he recognized right away was that he could have played woes on Watchman in territory in that first turn, and that way it would have stopped me from going to Ezekiel and messing up his hand. Also would have let him be able to block with a Malachite Slave and not get it prevented by Watchman. So it's kind of a downside, I guess, of using Hidden Treasures there, is that I expose Watchmen to getting wozed. But yeah, because he didn't see that line right away, then that worked out for me. If I had been thinking about it more, I should have used my Wanderer before he used Burial. I mean, he would have had the opportunity to use Burial kind of as soon as my turn started. But I should have used Wanderer as soon as I had the opportunity, because then Burial would not have been as effective that turn. So, yeah, something that I should have recognized as what I needed to do there. But anyway, I mean, all that said, I think it was a pretty good game. We had some good battles. That Glory with my Perplexing Vision battle was, I think, kind of I felt like I was in control most of the game, but once I got the Burial off, then it was like, oh, a little, like, I don't know. But then once I got that block, I think that, really set me up, where I could, get rid of Storehouse, deal with Confusion of Mind, and I still had to, get him to draw Lost Soul, but I felt like my defense was in pretty good position. So, yeah, I think that was kind of the, didn't guarantee the game for me, but it definitely shifted the momentum back into my favor at that point. So anyway, always a great game with René. Glad we were able to play. A little bummed we didn't get to to chat or to, do voice chat, but sometimes it's fun to do these kind of commentary games. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, with all that said, thanks for watching. We'll catch you all next time.